you say was a classier dress? Little Kim with the pasty blue boob, or Kanye West's wife wearing a plastic bag?
That was a plastic bag?
Sure.
That'd be a nice way of putting it. I didn't even see what
That's the nicest way I could put it. She was butt-ass naked.
I didn't see what Lil Kim wore.
Oh, dude, well, I'm talking about years ago.
Oh.
You know, like the early or like late 90s where she walked out with just the boob.
Yeah. No, it's absolutely his wife, Bianca Uncensory, as we're going to call her now, because she was totally uncensored. Look, man, in the most psychotic way, because you don't really follow him on social media or anything, but in the most psychotic, sickening, disgusting way possible, Kanye has marketed like a new line of clothing. His clothing line commercial got out during the Grammys, and then he ended up selling that nothing of a dress that she wore to the Grammys, and now he's selling it for $20 a pop.
But that's a classier dress, you're saying?
No, Lil Kim's is.
Yeah.
But there's a
still
reason
something left to the imagination.
But there's a reason why she was wearing what she was wearing. It's crazy what we're like in 2025, though. I think Jimmy Kimmel made the best point. We went nuts when Janet Jackson and had a little wardrobe malfunction and the boob popped out. We went insane over that. And when this happens, there's people who react on social media accordingly, but it's just what Kanye wants. He wants the attention, and he's getting it.
Yeah, I mean, that wasn't broadcast to millions of people. If you saw it on the red carpet, you saw it on the red carpet.
That's true.
So it wasn't on TV. Hey, look, as I said on the show, I'm a big fan of naked. Love naked. But I don't love forced naked, and that whole thing was uncomfortable. And also, fuck Kanye. I still don't forgive him for what he said in the past.
That's fair.
So forcing his wife to show up nude on the Grammys, yeah, it's a dickbag move. And believe me, I know you're dickbag Steven, but I mean that in the all negative ways.
Look, man, I would know better than anyone what a dickbag move would be, and that is ultra dickbag.
I would say so.
That's a top dickbag move.
Yes, indeedy. Just your opinion, man. Stephen Langford, Derek Papa, trades.
Why? What happened?
It's been crazy.
Oh,
what's something new? You thought we had just had breaking news again?
No, I just I didn't know that there was a bunch of trades going down. I've just been living under a rock, Derek, so I haven't heard anything. What's been going on?
Well, I'll tell you, Stephen. The Warriors, after all, like the last couple of weeks of people saying the Warriors should trade for Jimmy Butler, and then, funny enough, Steph Curry, while that conversation's going on, is saying, we don't need to be making moves willy-nilly. We don't need to hear from all these Twitter fingers out there. And then, conversations that Steph Curry and Draymond Green wouldn't enjoy having Jimmy Butler in the locker room, to now trading for Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler is on the Golden State Warriors.
Wow.
It just happened about 2 hours ago. So, yeah, the Warriors are playing right now. The Utah Jazz. They're leading at halftime. And that's not even the most fascinating thing about them right now. They're not playing with Andrew Wiggins or Dennis Schroeder or Kyle Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
They've all been traded to various locations. Funny enough, Dennis Schroeder could pull a coffee black right now and walk down the hall to join the Utah Jazz locker room if you wanted to.
But wait. He's playing for the Flint Tropics.
Yes. So, yeah, a lot to dissect. I mean, there's stuff going on in the NBA and NFL. We'll talk about that stuff a little bit later in the NFL. But just as far as the here and now, your reaction, Steven. Jimmy Butler has been traded to the Golden State Warriors. It does include Dennis Schroeder, Kyle Anderson, and Andrew Wiggins. We love Andrew Wiggins. He was a big factor in the 2022 NBA Finals, but he's gone. And along with a first-round pick, what was it, 2029 or what year was it?
I think it was
29. Was it protected or unprotected?
It
Actually,
was protected.
Okay, so protected first round pick.
Won't be having any children.
And Jimmy Butler also signs a contract extension with the Golden State Warriors. Initially, it was reported that he was not going to sign a contract extension with them, but I guess Shams initially reported it was going to be 121 million the next 2 seasons. That is not the case. It's going to be a little 112 action. So he'll make less money than the top paid player in basketball for a little bit of time there.
Yeah.
My little brother was texting me. He's like, he's going to make 60 a year, which would surpass Steph Curry and Jason Tatum. So, but that's not the case. He's going to make about 54, 58. So, yeah, Jimmy Butler, Golden State Warriors, your initial reaction?
I'm intrigued, man. That's my initial reaction. Before, when we were talking about this, we said we didn't want Jimmy Butler. We weren't sure how he was going to fit. But now that he is actually going to be a Warrior for these next couple of years and seemingly through the end of the Steve Kerr, Steph Curry era, because that's where the contract ends and that's when they expire. I am intrigued by this move because this is their last ditch effort to actually get the Warriors a championship before Steph and Steve Kerr call it a retirement potentially. And we venture into this new era of Warriors basketball post Steph and post Draymond, all of it. And I don't think we're ready for that yet. So I am very intrigued by the move. I don't know what it's going to do for them as far as, their playoff chances. Does this catapult them to the top of the Western Conference? Absolutely not. I think the Nuggets, the Thunder are still much better teams. I'm actually really interested to see what happens with the Mavericks and Anthony Davis and how they look with Kyrie and Clay as well. I am interested to see that. And also what the Phoenix Suns look like if Kevin Durant's retained there. But this is what they are going to rely on. And it's fascinating to me that it's Jimmy Butler. I know that he's 35 and we'll get more into it, but I'm more intrigued by the move. What was your first reaction?
My first reaction was, this is desperation. We didn't land Kevin Durant. Yeah. We're reacting to the Luka Doncic trade and the De'Aaron Fox trade. So we have to do something. And I knew that the Warriors had to do something. That's all we've been hearing about since, Jimmy Butler's available and all these names. I will say I'm a little down with hearing Kevin Durant wants nothing to do with the Golden State Warriors the rest of his career.
Yeah.
That, to me, there was always the hope that he would be down to do that. And to hear today, last night, it was crazy. There was momentum building for Kevin Durant to join the Warriors once again.
Yep.
And you're hearing all these rumors of, Sam Amick had the article. Is Draymond going to be part of the deal? And he said this morning, he was on FanDuel and said, I was surprised it didn't happen last night. And then, a couple hours later, right before, we did the Dirty Work show, basically said, Shams reported that he has no desire to return to the Warriors, which, I completely understand, because while everyone's reading into what Katie said in the trailer for the Netflix Olympic show of how much he loves playing with Steph, it's not just playing with Steph. It's playing with Draymond, who he has a history with. They may have mended fences a little bit, but there's a little still awkwardness from, they did the podcast together where they kind of shit on Bob Myers, but they also, in recent years, what happened with Nurkic again with Draymond? Did Nurkic and him get into it on the court? That's what had to lead to this.
I don't believe they got into it, but after Gobert, they did get into it, but this was after the Gobert choke, and then Draymond went after him, and then Nurkic said, I hope that brother gets some help that he needs.
Yes. And then Kevin Durant kind of went along with that too, and Draymond on his podcast was like, I don't need Kevin Durant telling me what to do. And then sure enough, he went to therapy. So it's not just Kevin Durant or not, it's not just Draymond Green there's Steve Kerr. I think about Steve, basically their relationship deteriorated when Steve told KD during the Western Conference Finals game, you need to pass the ball. Like he told him a story about Michael Jordan and how he was scoring, but he wasn't getting the other players involved, and that's why they were losing. And you could just see the look on KD's face, like, I don't need to hear that. I'm Kevin Durant. So that became a whole thing. Then KD wanted to play with more, isolation and have him win the games. Then there's also the media that called out that called out Kevin Durant all the time for being it's the softest, weakest move of all time to join the Golden State Warriors. And then there was the fans. I think the fans didn't really appreciate Kevin Durant. While I know he's a head case and the expectations of him, being more beloved than Steph Curry is kind of insane. I do remember going to Oracle Arena and watching the 2018 finals, that game 4 where they clinched and swept the Cavaliers, and everyone booed when Kevin Durant was named Finals MVP. That stuck with me.
Yeah.
So I understand why Kevin Durant does not want to come back. It just would have been nice, like a cherry on top of the career and everything, for them to be reunited, Steph and KD, and even Draymond. But I understand, like, he has a better situation right now with the Phoenix Suns. He does. It's the same thing. They're kind of in the same standings. I don't know what's going to happen now with Bradley Beal. I don't know if they're going to, now with them getting, or now with the Warriors getting Jimmy Butler, who the Phoenix Suns wanted. I wonder about if Kevin Durant's going to get moved tomorrow. We shall see. But as far as just Jimmy Butler, my initial reaction was, damn. I'm not thrilled about this. Just because of everything we heard in the recent days. It's clear that Steph and Draymond wanted no part of this. Initially, maybe they, kind of, were into it a little bit the last couple of days here, or maybe just the last couple of hours because it was the last option. But to hear Draymond go on his podcast and be like, everyone wants us to make these trades. If you want to trade for Jimmy Butler, you got to move Wiggins and me. And he was saying, like, it's hard to do, and maybe they're not really into it. So I think of it. Draymond did, yes.
Well, that's because I think he knew he was going to be a trade chip potentially, so he didn't want much part of it. I think if he had an understanding that he was untouchable, then he would have been okay with it. That's just a guess.
Well, I also think that there is a locker room issue with Jimmy Butler, obviously. Like, the way that he got his way out of Miami, it's not just Miami. And whatever happened with him and Pat Riley could be an old son of a bitch.
He told him to straight up shut up, to shut your mouth, which is true. He shouldn't, but he should have, but probably should have said it behind closed doors instead of in front of the media at the end of the season.
Yeah, I hear you on that one. But also it's Pat Riley, and if we could take anything from winning time, he's basically going to tell star players, I don't give a shit. Hey, right. Kareem, everyone's trying to know when you were going to retire. It was 2 months ago. So, he doesn't care who he insults. He's Pat Riley.
For sure.
Coined the phrase three-peat, and now the NFL has to pay him if the Chiefs win.
Didn't he let them do that, or didn't he? He give them permission to use it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They struck a deal, so they paid him, so now they can use three-peat.
Oh, they paid him. I thought he was just giving it away.
No. Pat Riley's not going to lose out on a deal like that. Case in point, right now with the Golden State Warriors. My initial reaction is the team better? Yes, they are better with Jimmy Butler. I can't deny that.
Mm-hmm.
Is it going to win them a championship? I don't think so. I think they're better for this season, and they can, compete for the play-in, maybe even get to the 6th seed. Yeah, okay, you want to fight for that. Totally understand that. They are getting older. Jimmy Butler's 35, and Andrew Wiggins was 29. And I'm not saying that, Jimmy Butler is definitely an upgrade over Andrew Wiggins. The trade itself, the compensation, totally fine. You're moving off of Andrew Wiggins, who is hit or miss. I really wish he would give more high energy than what he's been giving in his Warriors career. It feels like he only really dominated when he was playing in the 2022 NBA Finals or Western Conference Finals, dunking on Luka. Besides that, very low energy player. Kyle Anderson, was never really a fan of slow-mo. Dennis Schroeder was kind of a big disappointment since he got here. So I don't care about the assets moved. It's about the team right now in the starting lineup. And when Kuminga comes back, is Jimmy Butler your two guard? So it's Steph Curry, Butler, Kuminga, Draymond Green, and TJD. Where's the three-point shooting on this team? And also, I understand, like, maybe it's not TJD. Maybe now you're more comfortable with Kuminga playing the three if you trade away GP2 and Looney to get Vucevic, who's more of a stretch five. So I would anticipate that move tomorrow because we just keep hearing Vucevic over and over and over again. And a little bit earlier today, if it was just going to be Vucevic in this trade, we all would have been like, womp womp. Like, after all that talk with Kevin Durant, we just get Vucevic. Now, if you land Jimmy Butler and Vucevic, okay, that's an improvement of the team. But am I over the moon over this? Not really. Like, getting the contract extension, cool. He's committed to the team now. But just yesterday, we heard he wasn't going to sign a contract extension with the Warriors. So I'm not waffling.
You're skeptical.
I'm very skeptical of it. Yeah. Like, I think you have to make a move. Totally understand. You don't just want to stand idly by while the Lakers trade for Luka Doncic and the Kings get Zach LaVine and the Spurs get De'Aaron Fox. You got to make a move. Totally get that. I just don't know if this is going to pan out. Like, basketball wise, I see it and I'm like, where's the 3-point shooting? And you and I talked about it. Jimmy Butler is an ISO player. He's not really good at moving the basketball around. And it really takes him getting hot to be that good offensively. He needs to be the guy that scores 46 in a winner-go-home situation with the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals. So they needed to do it. I don't fault them for doing the move. I just don't love it.
I get it. And you're right to, wonder where the 3-point shooting is going to come from. I think it's just not going to come from the starting five. After all, you did retain Buddy Hield, and hopefully he'll be taking smarter shots from here on out now that he'll have two guys getting on his ass with Butler and Green. But I think one thing that you haven't mentioned is the defense. I think when you get into these clutch time games where the Warriors have gotten into more of them than any team in the league, or I think there's another team that's gotten into more clutch time games where 5 minutes left, the score is within 5 points. Sure, you need buckets, but you also need defense. And that's where, obviously everyone's going to wonder how the Draymond and Butler personalities will clash. Like, there's Bird is sitting right here, how they'll gel. But as far as I'm concerned, you have two of the smarter defenders in the NBA, high IQ guys, and I think you've already found your closing lineup right there, and I think that's going to win you a few more games and potentially really help you down the stretch because the Warriors have played a lot of good teams this year. They're playing a lot of bad teams coming up post All-Star break. So I think that's where there's been the biggest improvement. And if there's anything that Steve Kerr loves, it's defense. He's always talking about the defense. The scoring is going to come, but it's all about defense, though he doesn't have a team right now where he can just be confident where it's just like the scoring is going to come. Yeah, we have Steph and Clay and we have all these guys. That's not going to happen. So I think that's where I'm more optimistic around the move. I think this can be one of the better defensive teams in the league now that you add Butler. I know Andrew Wiggins is gone, and he's been tremendous as of late, but I think Butler just gives you an edge, man. And I think he's a lot better than people are making it out to be just because they're paying attention to what happened this season. Before he got hurt, I actually think he had a point. I think at least last year before the playoffs, I think they could have beaten the Knicks in a 7-game series. Not so sure about the Celtics because they ended up winning the championship. So I'm not going to sit here and say the Heat would have beat the Celtics in a 7-game series. But I think they need that this time around. And Andrew Wiggins is awesome. Like he's been great, but I've just seen it too much to where you're going to live or die by Wiggins. And this season, no, I'm not like thinking championship now, but I got to tell you, this makes me feel a whole lot better about next year. Like if you're going to at least go into next season with Steph, Dre, and Jimmy Butler, and who knows what else happens through the offseason. They might make more moves to really try to get a run at this thing. I'm kind of liking it, man. Like Dennis Schroeder and Kyle Anderson were fine, and this was probably their plan all along when they signed him in the offseason. You know, we're going to use these guys as trade pieces, or at least Kyle Anderson, that is. But I don't know. I'm trying to be optimistic. I'm more in the camp of I need to wait and see it before I jump to any conclusions.
Yeah.
I'm very, very interested to see how Butler handles it with Kerr. Is he going to be that same kind of that same type of alpha dog when he's joining a brand new team, knowing that they have the championship pedigree with Steph and Draymond? Because what do they have over Jimmy? Which Jimmy always had something over his other teammates, a veteran, all-star,
Yeah.
Defensive player of the year candidate. But what these guys have over Butler, which none of his teammates really had, rings. Yeah, we got rings over you, dude. You're gonna have to follow us. So, like, I'm very interested to see that.
Yeah, that's the one thing I am worried about is just how much respect Jimmy is going to give to Steph and Draymond that they have seniority over him when it comes to this franchise. This is a situation where he is not the top dog. He's not the alpha dog. He is like he was the man in Miami, and he joined the Minnesota Timberwolves when Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins were the guys, and he told them, "You guys aren't tough enough." Then going to Philadelphia and telling Joel Embiid, "You're not tough enough." I don't think he'll do that to Steph and Draymond. There might be some moments between him and Draymond. There might be some moments between him and Steve Kerr. This team has improved defensively, no doubt about it. I just wonder how it's going to be offensively. That does worry me a little bit. Like, it wasn't so much to me like I wasn't really worried about the defense. Like, they needed just another number 2 scorer. Like, would Kevin Durant have made them a championship contender again? Maybe, but I was skeptical of that too. It was going back in time, and I would have been fine with the move. Offensively, it would have been great again to have Steph and KD run those pick and rolls. But is that going to beat the top of the West in OKC and Denver? Probably not. And I don't think this does either. So this improves them for this season. But for the long haul, I mean, they did get older. They did get older today. And you have and like Steph is not consistently playing back-to-backs. Draymond's coming off an injury. Jimmy Butler was pretty much suspended off and on again for quite some time. So I don't know when we'll see him. You have older players on this team. And everybody that we talked to, media-wise was like, do you really want 3 guys, 35 plus in your starting rotation right now? And I keep going back to the fact that everything I heard, Steph and Draymond were not really in on Jimmy Butler, but now they are because they ran out of options.
Well, they better be. They're freaking professionals, man. Get over it. If you're not okay with it, get over it. You're getting paid $50 million to play basketball.
Yeah, I know, but this is their team, though, man.
So what? You're getting paid $50 million.
Yeah,
let it work. Try to make it work. And just children.
Well, they will. They will. They will try to make it work. But they definitely have their skepticism, and rightfully so. Jimmy Butler has been volatile in places that he's gone prior. Yeah. So I would have preferred the Larry Markkinen move if that was on the table. I would have preferred the Zach LaVine move, to be completely honest. You're not going to have the same defense. I get that. But you are going to have more scoring. So it just can't be this, though. I'm still not crazy about Jonathan Kuminga. I have to see what he brings.
Right.
And people are going to be like, oh, you got to take it easy on him. He'll come back from an injury. No, fuck that. He's got how many remaining games to prove that he's worth the damn getting a max contract? And if he's not, then you got to use him and a sign and trade. But that's going to take some some convincing on his part because he doesn't have to agree to that. He just roll to another team. So, yeah, man, I'm not 100% hating it or 100% loving it. If I'm leaning in one direction, I'm a little negative about it, but I do need to see how it goes.
Are you not? Are you at least like? Let me ask you this though. Are you at least more interested to see what happens with this season? Because Ernie too here said I would have preferred to ride this season out and let the young players get run. If this wasn't my job, I wouldn't really see a point in watching if they were doing that with just letting the young players get run. I don't need to see, the development of Guy Santos and Quentin Post and what that means for the Warriors' future. Like, no offense to the take there, Ernie. I get where you're going, but that does not interest me with seeing the young guys getting more run. And you're going to see the young guys get more run. Moses Moody has been playing very well. Brandon Pajemski kind of looks like a different player ever since he came back from the injury. And I know he had built up that little friendship and chemistry with Schroeder.
Yeah.
God damn it, Ernie. What do you mean? I haven't watched any games this season already. Get out of the chat. What are you doing? I love that. That is my favorite. That's my favorite duo of messages in this podcast history. Hey, I'd rather see the young guys ride this season out. I haven't watched a game at all this season, but I'd rather see that. Oh, that's amazing.
I don't blame you because, like, early on it was fun to watch, but lately it hasn't been. So right. I totally get your Ernie too.
Oh Jesus, I love the input. Yeah, I think that's something that sits with me. Like, again, I don't know what this is going to do, and I hear your skepticism, but I am much more fascinated with this team's direction. And you say, what's this going to look like for the long haul? This is the final haul. This is it. This is what they're riding with. I mean, they're going to potentially make another move, but like this is the one that starts the beginning of the end of this era. This is going to be the way they try to make a run at the finals, is with this core of older gentlemen. What are you looking at?
Sorry, I got this new hoodie that my brother gave me, and because of my bald head, it leaves like a bunch of fuzz on top of my head.
So you got a bunch of lint.
I'm looking for fuzz off the top of my head, off of my dome piece.
Yeah, it does look a little like you missed a few spots shaving.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to get it off.
Yeah,
I mean,
comb through it.
Yeah, I don't own a comb, Steven. That's what happens when you're bald.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, I think if this is the team for the next 2 seasons, like, Steve Kerr for 1 more year and Steph Curry for 2 more seasons, like the contracts align right now. It's, Steph tied at the hip with Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if that's enough. Like, honestly, I would have preferred if they went younger, if they found the next guy that's going to take the mantle to pass the torch to the new guy. Like, I was going back and forth on this one, but should they have gone in on Zion? I don't know. Like, the weight issue and
no. See, it's not a weight issue. It's a discipline issue. That's the problem with Zion. The dude's obsessed with being everything about a professional athlete except for the actual playing the sport. He doesn't care about that. He cares about all the other stuff. That's fine. He seems like a very jolly human being. And I'm saying jolly because he's a big old boy.
He's a big boy.
He is. And it would have been sick to have Zion. Like, the dude's a crazy athlete. But he has discipline issues. And not discipline with getting in trouble. Just discipline with staying focused and putting it like, and you know what? Having a guy like Steph, watching his work ethic, maybe that would have inspired him. Maybe that would have
Draymond.
Or Draymond even. Yeah. Maybe that would have inspired him. So maybe they
like
could have.
Luka has discipline issues as well.
Correct.
From everything we're hearing. So
correct.
Yeah, from Etch a Sketch here.
Zion can't be
Zion
traded.
can't be traded due to his weight limit. I don't know. I would have entertained that a little bit, but this is a better move than that. I agree with that. I am skeptical on how this is going to work basketball wise.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. You know what? You know who I feel
here we
bad for,
go.
Derek?
Who's that?
This is random. But going back to the Kevin Durant thing, feel bad for the cannabis clubs in San Francisco. I'm sure some thought they would get a lot more business with KD coming to town. You know, the Green Door, Barbary Coast, anywhere up and down the Mission. It's a shame.
My place in the right near Schroeder's, California
Yeah.
Dispensary, 212 Club.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure they were really excited about KD coming to town.
Yeah, I mean,
Stock price is rising.
is Katie that much of a stoner?
Yeah, dude.
I don't know. I saw that David Letterman interview where he was like, "I'm high right now," but
Yeah.
besides that,
Yeah, he's like a known stoner now. It's like a part of his identity.
really,
Yeah.
I'm sure those businesses and where we live will do just fine without him, Stephen.
And I'll connect everything here. But Kevin Durant not coming back, I think you can put his jersey as non-retired. Someone is going to be 35. What Jimmy Butler?
I don't know about that one. I don't know
I
about
think
that
so.
one.
I
Why?
think so.
Why is that?
Because he didn't come back when they needed him most. And Joe Lacob, I bet, was offended at that.
Mm,
Not gonna retire it. Nope. Thought we were gonna retire it. Could have come back. Could have won more. I'm just taking your impression and trying to make it my own. It's not working.
well, you did it perfectly one time when I asked you to do it.
Yeah.
Although that I had to teach you that impression though.
Yes, you did. Because I didn't really know what a Joe Lacob impression sounded like, and I needed teaching. But anyway, I think what Jimmy Butler gives you is something that's as close, or a player that's as close to the other guy who's going to get his jersey retired in Andre Iguodala. That's the closest thing you're going to get to him, in my opinion. Just a veteran guy who's a high IQ defender, doesn't exactly have the wingspan that Iguodala did, but you're talking about you're talking about a guy with great hands, closeout speed. God damn, Mel Kiper doing basketball would be something, wouldn't it? But I think you are getting a guy who is going to be like a defensive specialist, which is what he came into the league as, and a guy who can close you games. Like, you can get a guy who's going to be like a Andre in, what was it? Game 3 of the Western Finals in 2019, the walk-off swipe and steal on Damian Lillard against the Blazers, where he blocked his shot, just ran off the court looking at his hands.
Oh yeah. Well, that one, and then I remember his block shot. Was it game 3 of the 2017 Finals, where Katie just hit the shot, and then Andre Iguodala blocks it on LeBron.
So sick.
Yeah, I mean, we may get spectacular defensive plays like that from Jimmy Butler. Yeah, I maybe I just need to see it, man. My initial reaction is just that of, all right, Jimmy Butler. We know the name. You know, we've seen the Michelob Ultra commercials. He's dancing a Hootie and the Blowfish. We like him. We also kind of don't like him because he can also be kind of an asshole. But maybe we need an asshole. Maybe we need another Draymond. So I like that, and having a tough guy, having more leadership. But I do wonder about the scoring. I do wonder how the basketball is going to move around. I do wonder about, if things don't go well, how he's going to react to Steph and Draymond and Steve Kerr. There's a lot of hypotheticals and what ifs. But did they get better today? Absolutely. Are they going to win a championship with this team right now? And we'll see what happens tomorrow if they get Vucevic. I'm highly skeptical of that. At the end of the day, they got better, but they got older. And that worries me a little bit.
If Steph Curry really is like a movie quote guy, the first thing that he would quote to Jimmy is from the hit motion picture Down to Earth with Chris Rock. You ever seen that?
Of course.
Where he meets the butler.
Woods, yo.
Where he meets the butler for the first time. So you a butler. So you're going to do all the butling around here. It's exactly what Steph would say upon first meeting, first handshake.
I may have to steal that from you tomorrow, because we've been playing. When Shams was reporting, the Warriors are making calls on every every superstar out there. We were thinking about. You ever seen the other Chris Rock movie, Head of State?
Yeah.
There's a scene where they're trying to get his running mate, his vice president. They're like, "We asked everybody. Did you call Hammer? No, I didn't call Hammer. Well, you didn't call everybody." Or
God,
yeah,
I haven't seen that movie in a
Rockin'
long
Nuera
time.
knows me pretty well, or Seinfeld, because he's my butler. See, Rockin' Nuera's not watching Warriors games; he watching Seinfeld reruns.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. So yeah, dude. I mean, we'll see what happens here. We'll see when he makes his debut. I doubt Jimmy Butler's gonna suit it up tomorrow against the Lakers, and neither is Luka Doncic. I guess that's happening this weekend, right before the Super Bowl. We'll see Luka make his Lakers debut. Just real quick, what did you think of the De'Aaron Fox trade that happened Sunday night right after we were done with the podcast? I mean, that's like going from Luka on Saturday to De'Aaron Fox, with Luka only being traded for 1 first-round pick, and Luka got moved for 3 first-round picks, 3 seconds. Zach LaVine goes to the Sacramento Kings. Like, I was like, that's a trade now. That's when you're maximizing the compensation for an up-and-coming star. I think it's a great move to pair him up with Wembanyama. And I think that move also kind of made Joe Lacob be like, we're not getting Zach LaVine now. We got to go above and beyond to get somebody, a name. I don't care what the rules are. So I like it for San Antonio. For the Kings now are basically just the Chicago Bulls again, with DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine and Malik Monk and Sabonis, a little bit better than the Bulls. But yeah, what did you make of that deal?
Oh, I loved it. I thought not because I think like I loved it because the Kings got worse. I actually don't mind the Kings at all. But I thought initially when I saw the Luka trade, and I'm sorry, that's a sketch. I know that you're a Laker fan. Also, you think Ingram would fit in the Bay? I don't know where Ingram would fit. Would be pretty cool to have him there though, because he's just a sick player. But
Ingram,
yeah, he's cool. I like him.
He's all right.
Yeah, he's got a cool offensive skill set. It's like the thing with Jimmy Butler. Like, I know he's not a great offensive player, but I'm telling you, in my opinion, his shooting form is the prettiest in the NBA. It's just so smooth. But anyway, the De'Aaron Fox move, I think the Lakers need to do something else, because I think you pairing up De'Aaron Fox with Victor Wembanyama, I mean, who are you going to stop now? Like, who are you going to double team? I mean, you double team De'Aaron Fox, he's just going to get it to Wemby. Wemby's going to be one-on-one. It's just going to be like a 2-man game, and then you're going to have CP3 facilitating everything. I thought that was a great move by San Antonio. I think they're going to have a chance to be a playing team and maybe shock some people. And as much as we can get Victor Wembanyama in the spotlight, that's better for the NBA, because that dude deserves it. I think it's going to be – I think they're playing their first game tonight.
They did. They had a big lead against the Hawks. I didn't see how that turned out because they blew the lead a little bit, but I didn't see who won that game.
126, 125.
So not a lot of defense. Who won?
Close one. The Spurs did.
But the skin of their teeth there. Okay. All right. A win's a win.
Yeah. So, look, man, that starting 5 is pretty bad. That's pretty badass. Like the depth of this team.
Yeah. Who is it? It's De'Aaron Fox, Harrison Barnes.
Yeah.
Chris Paul. Not bad. Yeah.
You do have Stephon Castle, who is pretty sick, but beyond that, like your 7th, 8th, and 9th man, I don't know. Like Keldon Johnson, Jeremy Sochan, he's all right, but he couldn't make it as a starter with that team. So,
they'll add more pieces in the offseason. I mean, this is going to be an attractive team now with Victor Wembanyama.
I think they're on the right track. Greg Popovich hasn't even come back yet, right?
He has not.
Yeah, so
at least I don't think. No,
I like that trade for the future. For the Kings, I don't know. I don't know what Zach LaVine is as a player either.
He would have been a nice.
I see the stats, but I'm not going to act like I watched a bunch of Bulls games this season.
He would have been perfect for the Warriors as being the number 2, in the lineup, as far as just like another offensive player to play off of Steph, a 3-point shooter. But defensively, he's Swiss cheese. So I get that.
He's a
Um,
Sith.
yeah, Jimmy Butler now. Yeah, you're gonna have some defense. So we'll see, man. I mean, as long as you all right.
Yeah, I dropped my phone. We're fine.
Okay.
I was just playing defense at the desk. I lost.
As long as Jimmy Butler realizes, and I know this is going to be kind of cheesy, but I've used this line before. He loves Hootie. He loves Hootie and the Blowfish. As long as Jimmy Butler realizes he's Hootie or he's a Blowfish and not Hootie on this team, then everything will be fine. Just go with the flow. It's Steph's team. It's Draymond's team. You're not the guy. What, you reacting to me doing the Hootie and the Blowfish thing? Thought it was pretty good. He loves Hootie. He loves Hootie. You're not Darius Rucker. You're a Blowfish. Go with the flow. This is Steph's team. This is Steve's team. This is Draymond's team. Don't be an asshole. Just go in line with everybody else, and everything will be fine.
Just tell them that you only want to be with you.
Or if Steph Curry just tells them, hold my hand. That's it. That's the only two Hootie and the Blowfish songs I know.
Don't be Hootie.
Don't be Hootie.
Don't be Harry. Don't be Darius Rucker. Just be a Blowfish.
Exactly. Be a Blowfish. That's the key. That's the key, Jimmy.
I know this is a Seinfeld podcast, and no one likes Friends because everyone's insecure with themselves. Can't admit they like Friends.
Why? Because there was 3 girls on it?
Yeah. But there's a scene where like they went to go see Hootie and the Blowfish. Then Monica gets a little hickey at the end, and then she comes home and they're like, "Well, where were you?" I went to a party with Hootie and the Blowfish. He's like, "Who did that?" That would be the work of a blowfish.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Oh,
not bad. Yeah.
He's a big country guy.
He is now. He is.
Man, Jimmy Butler, get used to Shoreline Amphitheater. Get summer ticks.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure he's a big Shabuzi guy.
Yeah, for sure.
Shabuzi's playing in the Celebrity All-Star game, right?
Correct. And 2 Chainz is coaching it.
Ah, yes. Formerly known as Titty Boy.
Titty Boy, who played college basketball. Really good player.
Oh, did he now? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's 6'5". He was a really good player.
I know he was part of Disturbing the Peace back in the day as Titty Boy. Ludacris.
With one T.
Yes.
He also had one of my favorite lines in the RTJ4 album where he said, "I'll buy a hot dog stand if I'm trying to be frank."
Yeah. Wow. And that's not cheesy.
No, it's funny.
Yeah. But if anybody else like said these rappers liners sometimes, you'd be like, oh my God. Like if like some nerdy white guy said that, you'd be like, please.
It's true.
Yep.
But it's 2 Chainz. It's the
when
way
Titty Boy says it, it's poetry.
Tidy Boy.
Speaking of that NBA All-Star celebrity game, God, either I'm old or don't give a shit about any of these people, but I don't give a shit about any of these people.
Who? What? Who? What?
The people that are playing in the Celebrity All-Star game.
Let me look up the whole. Oh, okay.
They're all like TikTokers and, Drewski.
Yeah, Drewski. He. All right. Let's take a look here. We got.
What's his deal? He's just a celebrity comedian or an internet comedian.
He. I don't know if I can Can I zoom in on this? Even though I'm sharing it, I think I can. Right?
Yeah, there you go. You're zooming in.
Getting to the middle of the screen here.
So the coaches are Barry Bonds, Jerry Rice, 2 Chainz, and who's Cobby Lame?
Cobby Lame. I don't know who that is.
Is that something from like Indiana Jones 2? Kalima! Cobby Lame!
Someone gets out of line, just rips out their heart. So with Drewski, he has like a really popular internet series called like could have been records or something. But he was on Shane Gillis's podcast recently, the Matt and Shane Secret Podcast with Matt McCusker. And it just seems like he's trying to be like the cool guy in the room with not much knowledge about what he's judging people for. So I'm kind of, I don't know. He rubbed me the wrong way on that podcast, but that's just a podcast. I don't know. He's funny at times, but I've never been like a huge fan of it. Kai Cenat, the ultra popular streamer, Etch a Sketch, Let Your Sister Know, Noah Kahan, that's Francisco, that's Alessandra's brother. Noah Kahan, yeah, she loves him, so let her know.
Do you know as a sketch?
Etch a Sketch, yeah.
Who is that?
I met him through Jesse, because it's Jesse's friends. It's Jesse's friend's brother.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Alessandra's. He was a bridesmaid at the wedding. Let's see. Chris Brickley is the shooting coach, I think. So he'll be pretty cool to watch. Yeah. I don't know who Dylan Wang is. Some guy named Baron Davis. I don't know who that is. Alicia Gray, Mickey Guyton. I think Mickey Guyton's an artist.
Yeah.
AP DeHillen. I don't know who that is. Bailey. That's a wrestler.
Hey, Terrell Owens.
T.O.
Sorry, Terrell
Owens. And then he's going to do that on Friday night. And then on Sunday, the big old celebrity pickleball tournament. Watch out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to be watching most of this stuff. I probably would be more interested in the SNL 50th anniversary thing.
Yeah,
I think that's the same night, actually.
February 14th, Valentine's Day.
It's that weekend where they're going to do the 50th or the 60th, actually. 60th celebration. Is it 50th or 60th?
50th.
50th? Okay. It's they're going to do like a whole, on Sunday night, celebrate Saturday Night Live with the history of the show and have like a big special and whatnot.
AJ said, Bailey's from San Jose. Show some respect, nice guy. I'm sorry. I got to show respect to Independence High School. I think that's where she went. She was at the Sharks game recently. You know, our guys on the Forgotten Sports podcast, Cody and Alex, were going nuts, probably waiting in line to get her autograph or something like that.
Probably.
Or did she go to Independence or Presentation? Can't remember which one.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Dude, Ernie too. Anuel, I don't know how to pronounce it. I guess it was like some Latin pop artist or something, and I called him Anuel AA. It's like that's not who.
When'd you do that?
A while back when he was in the Celebrity All-Star game. Yeah.
Gotcha. Anuel AA. Real quick, I didn't get your reaction on this. What did you think of Katie basically saying, I'm not coming back to this team ever again?
Yeah, I can't say I'm too surprised. But like, I just love how fans all instantly went to blame Draymond. But I'm telling you, man, even just on that pregame show, seeing some of the way people would attack him, attack his character, whether it was through the text line or through phone calls, literally us calling him sensitive, like people, like even like the guys in the chat here today were saying something to the effect of like, I don't even think Kevin Durant knows what he wants. Like just saying saying those kinds of things that are kind of personal, like about him when we don't really know him. As I try to plug back in my mic because it just like unplugged on me. Oh, come on.
Maybe get a little closer to your face too, Steven.
I can't because the wire's broken.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, people do go after his character, and not just locally, nationally, they do the same thing. But a lot of it was self-inflicted, no doubt about that. He said things, and he was mopey, and he cared what people thought about him way too much. I mean, you can ask some radio hosts that he slid in their DMs to say, like, why are you saying this about me? Why are you tweeting this about me? I saw it firsthand. It was a little too much from a superstar. But I also don't think that we really appreciated him for what he did with the Warriors. And there were times where, yeah, it definitely was too much. But also it's like, it's hard. Like one reason I didn't want Kevin Durant before we signed him was he was going to think he's bigger than the team that won a championship. And there were moments where he was one of the guys, but for the most part, he was Kevin Durant on an island. So, and also I think he wants to prove it. Like, he cares what everybody thinks. He cares what Stephen A. Smith thinks. So he wants to make this work with the Phoenix Suns. I truly believe that. Now, if he goes and joins the Dallas Mavericks or Lakers, that looks lame. At this point, it probably would be the best interest of him and his legacy to win with Devin Booker, and I guess Bradley Beal's sticking around. So we'll see.
I actually liked the move to the Houston Rockets for him. I thought that was interesting. I'm like, going to a young up-and-coming team with a shitload of draft picks. Like, they have enough to where they can.
And he's the old guy on the team?
Tell the Suns, hey, we'll give you a 25, a 2027, and a 2029 first rounder, so you can get all of those picks back that you traded for Kevin Durant, and we'll give you, I don't know. I mean, they'd probably have to give away like a Men Thompson, which I don't think that would be. I don't know if that'd be worth it. That guy's on fire right now. Shout out Oakland, California.
Yeah, I think KD just needs, for himself, he needs to make it work with the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah, and Devin Booker and all that. I get it, but they just haven't been that good this year. I haven't really kept up with the Suns. I'm surprised they're in the same place as the Warriors are right now in terms of.
I am shocked by that. I picked them to go to the finals and win it over the Milwaukee Bucks, but they definitely are not playing well, even with getting Budenholzer as the head coach over Frank Vogel.
But anyway, the reaction though to KD, I was kind of like, oh my God, this could really happen. Yeah. But I wondered where the reports came from though. Who were these? I guess that's where I was at after. I was a little confused, not with Kevin Durant not wanting to come to the Warriors, but if all it took was a simple, I think it was a text to Shams from Durant. If all it took was that, then how'd we get to this point? Like, what led Sam Amick to believing that it was actually going to happen last night? What led to, what's his name? Brett Spiegel or whatever.
Yeah, that guy's turned into, he's more respected than Dove Kleiman, but kind of like a little aggregatey when it comes to his reports.
Well, hopefully he's a real person, because Dove Kleiman is a whole group of people. Dove Kleiman is an entity. Dove Kleiman is a cult.
Then maybe not. Okay, I'd say, what's his name's Brett Spiegel?
I think so.
He's more like Ari Meroff or whatever that guy's name is.
Right.
Yeah.
Respect to those guys, whatever.
Yeah.
But
I just like, who do you work for?
But Jake Fisher, Mark Stein,
Yahoo,
all those guys. Like, I thought it was very real. So my confusion is like, well, where did that come from?
Yeah.
Where did you get this idea? That
big shift.
Like, what the hell?
Well, maybe like, was it the Warriors
being used?
Like, what's up?
Were they being used?
Possibly, or
like
maybe
a leverage play to maybe get the Mavs or the Rockets or even the Suns to commit?
Or was it, I don't know, Draymond being on the team or the contract that they wanted KD to sign? I don't know. To go from everyone feeling so good about it, like multiple people, radio hosts in Phoenix to, respected journalists and Sam Amick, to then just being like, I never wanted to go there. What the hell happened? That's where we need the Hondo Carpenter of the Warriors to write that article. Kevin Durant wanted to go to the Warriors. Then he didn't want to go to the Warriors. And he thought about what the past would be and what the future would hold. And in the end, he was going to do that all over again.
It was February 4th, 2025. Kevin Durant went to a diner for breakfast. He had an egg salad sandwich, peculiar choice for a breakfast menu, but he had it anyway.
They thought have an egg salad sandwich for breakfast.
That's why I said it's a peculiar choice, Derek. Let me go on with this little bit here.
Sorry.
These are all in bullet points. Reports circulated. Momentum was gaining. Kevin Durant wanted to be back with the Warriors. Kevin Durant was still at that diner, eating the egg salad sandwich. Reports continued to come out. Even Sam Amick said that it was going to happen. Anthony Slater and Marcus Thompson II, too. Two more teams were involved, the Mavericks and the Rockets. He went to the University of Texas. He took another bite of the egg salad sandwich as these reports were coming out. He didn't look at his phone. Then he saw his phone, saw all these reports, texted Shams, said he didn't want to go anymore.
While he was eating the egg salad sandwich, a waiter came up to him and said, "Egg salad sandwich? Really? It's breakfast."
Now please click this. Now please
breaking news.
Now please click this breaking news report to say that the Raiders are interested in drafting a player.
Yeah, Hondo, it's a little too much. Speaking of Hondo and the Raiders, that news broke a little bit after we signed off on Sunday. I thought that this was going to be in the works once they hired Pete Carroll. I even mentioned his name as a possible offensive coordinator. But then I thought maybe Houston's a better situation because DeMeco Ryans knows him from back in the day when he was head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. He just OC'd Ohio State, a place that C.J. Stroud's familiar with. But in the end, the Raiders make Chip Kelly their offensive coordinator. And interesting move. Kind of shocked by it. Didn't expect him. Oh, actually, you know what? For the time that it happened, I wasn't expecting him to come. I thought of his name initially when Pete Carroll was named head coach of the Raiders because I guess their timelines, they crossed a little bit when they were in college together and mostly through the Seahawks and Niner days. But then you see that he had to become the highest paid coordinator in all of the land. Chip Kelly making $6 million a year to be the Raiders offensive coordinator.
Has enough money to pay for a squire.
Yes. For all the buffets in Las Vegas, it's good for Chip Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
But I like it. I know some people don't like it at all. I think that people that know him from college think that he's two-faced, and I totally get that. He kind of bounces around from place to place. And when you think of him at Ohio State this season, they won the national championship. Great offensive performance against Oregon in the playoff game. The Michigan game where they went up against a NFL defense and NFL defensive coordinator Wink Martindale, they only scored 10 points. Who's to say that's going to translate to the NFL? Bottom line is, I think that Pete's basically kind of overseeing the team, but he's got a head coach in Chip Kelly on the offense and a head coach with Patrick Graham on defense. So it's an all-star cast when it comes to, coaches. Like Greg Olson comes back, the older Greg Olson, the Greg Olson that was a part of the Raiders before. He's coming back to be QB coach. So I like it. I don't know if I love it. I have to see what else happens with signing players in the quarterback situation, but they're putting a lot of faith in Chip Kelly.
Before people in the Bay Area knew him as a failed 49ers coach, before some people, at UCLA considered him, as you say, two-faced. Shout out Tommy Lee Jones. I knew him by a 3-word nickname, Big Balls Chip. When he was at the Ducks and they would go for it on like every fourth down.
They call him that?
The chant in Autzen Stadium, they would take both their hands and go, Big Balls Chip. Big Balls Chip.
All right.
As far as I'm concerned, the Raiders
doesn't roll off the tongue like Big Dick Nick for Nick Foles.
They got Big Balls Chip on their coaching staff.
Yeah.
How could I hate it? How can I hate it? But how cool is that's so college football, man?
Yeah.
You're not going to see that with any Vegas fans because you're going to have fans from every team in attendance there at Allegiant Stadium. You're not going to have just one fan base, but at Ducks games, you just see every time they go for a fourth down, you'd see it almost like the when the Sharks are on a power play and they go the boo boo, except you go Big Balls Chip. They bringing back Mariota or what?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, that's not a bad move.
You don't think so?
No, man. I mean, obviously, I don't want him as the future franchise quarterback, but you could do a whole lot worse.
Yeah, and I think that probably means the end of Aiden O'Connell as any quarterback for the Raiders.
Yeah.
So we'll see what they do there. I mean, initially you think like maybe Shedeur Sanders would be good in that offense. We'll see what happens quarterback-wise. But I do kind of like that Pete's, like before, like it never was him calling the plays defensively. It was either Darrell Bevel or Shane Waldron in a mix of Gus Bradley or Dan Quinn or Ken Norton or whoever else he had as defensive coordinator. So he's gonna kind of let it be with the other, coordinators, kind of acquiesce to them and let them do their thing. So I don't mind it. I think I wonder how Chip and Pete are going to get along with each other. Like I've heard from John Middlecoff that Chip can be, kind of an ass back in his younger days. But now, since he's left college football and, not been told he's not head coach worthy anymore, maybe he's chilled out a little bit, but it did take him $6 million to become the OC of the Raiders. So it wasn't like he was just willing to do this. They had to overpay to get him. And now he's got a lot of work to do with the offense. So the other options, like I'm glad, if they got Darrell Bevell, I would have been like, all right, that's who Pete knows from back in the day. But it seems like an upgrade. I'm willing. I am skeptical, but also I see a lot of promise with it at the same time. And all that matters though is the personnel they get at quarterback.
Isn't that what it is with every move in sports, though? I think you should always meet it with a healthy amount of skepticism before you jump to any conclusions. Like, I don't know, when the 49ers hired like Kyle Shanahan, you kind of knew that was going to be a home run just because of, his dad, I guess you could align that with his upbringing, and just how he was as a play caller in both Washington and Atlanta. You kind of knew this guy was destined to be a head coach. But with all these other guys, like, they're proven, but Chip Kelly is proven as an offensive play caller. Pete Carroll's proven as a head coach. Patrick Graham is proven as a defensive coordinator. It's not like they are in a position that's out of their league. I think they're right in the place where they're strongest. I think this is where each of them thrives. So I'm feeling pretty optimistic, but I do want to meet it with some skepticism because it's the Raiders and only bad things have happened with this team under Mark Davis. So I think we can, but obviously I think they've gathered their guys in the staff, but it's about the players now. And John Spytek's got to do a hell of a job. Him and Pete Carroll got to work in unions. I'm not even worried about like him and Chip. I'm more worried about Pete or I'm not worried, but I'd say if there's something I'm kind of questioning, I guess it would be that relationship with Spytek and Carroll. What if they don't agree on certain players? What's it going to be like? Can there be trust within the organization? Will Pete use, the old man card? Will he use look, dude, I've been doing this a long time. I could see it in this player. Go get him.
I hear you. But John Spytek has a history of working with Andy Reid and Sean Payton and who else? Bruce Arians. Mm-hmm. So he's always been the younger guy in the room when it comes to older head coaches. So I don't think we should worry about that so much. I think he'll acquiesce to what Pete wants, but also it'll be a collaboration. And with Pete, I think this is interesting to have these two guys that maybe could become potential head coaches in the future of the Raiders. Like he's not going to delegate to these guys, but also, and no, Rocca New Era. I said Peyton this time. I use a lot of emphasis on the T. Don't do that every single goddamn time. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. But yeah, I think that it's a better move for Chip Kelly not being the head coach and Pete being the guy with experience there to tell him what's up.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But
I always got. I
don't hate the moves.
I always got Fortenbaugh in my head whenever I say this word because this is something he would use repeatedly during Jolo and Dibs. But something that I'm seeing from the Raiders for the first time in a long time, or a word I could use to describe the Raiders right now, it seems like they are organized.
Yeah.
Very organized. And it seems like they are actually taking a serious approach to what they're doing. They're not just going after guys who charm you on TV in John Gruden and Mike Mayock. They're not just going after guys who won a bunch of championships with the Patriots and you're trying to recreate the Patriot way. You're not going with an interim coach who grew up a Raider fan, so you're just going to give him the job just because players like him. Like, this seems like an organized, strategic type of approach. And for the first time, I could feel confident. Like, I felt good with Reggie McKenzie and Jack Del Rio. I think we kind of overlooked them as a head coach GM pairing. I know Jack Del Rio has said a lot of questionable things since then, but
Yeah.
those were the best teams that, I mean, as far as I've been, a cognizant football fan, like, those were the best teams that I've seen so far. So I'm feeling pretty darn good about the direction that they're headed right now. But now I have to see the draft.
Yep.
And we won't know until that happens.
I don't think we'll feel confident about anything until we see what the quarterback position is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And everyone's saying I did say pay done. So
you think they get a bullseye in the draft, Derek? A little dart, little bullseye, little dart.
Jackson Dart?
Jackson Dart, little bullseye.
Could be available. I mean, his stock is rising. It may be more than just second round. I need to evaluate all the quarterbacks and everything, but I wouldn't be like, people get quarterback crazy, man. Would you be surprised if he gets drafted in the first round?
I wouldn't be. I also wouldn't be surprised if Shador drops to 6, and then we see the video of Pete Carroll meeting Shador in the meeting room, and you know what he does? He
Take
gets
his shirt off.
He gets the rollie Shador. Then he does that.
Yeah. If any like old man can relate to the youths, that's Pete Carroll.
To the youths.
The youths. So, yeah. We'll see what happens with the Raiders, but I think they're making I think they're making pretty good moves. Mm-hmm. I can understand with Chip Kelly, like, not a lot there, and his experience in the NFL went terrible. A couple good seasons with the Eagles, then a horrible one where he was making personnel decisions, like when he told Howie Roseman, "You can go to the other end of the building, and I'll pick Sam Bradford as my quarterback and DeMarco Murray as my running back." That went terrible. And then with the Niners, God, what was it, like a mix of Colin Kaepernick and Blaine Gabbert? And they were like horrible, absolutely horrible that year.
That was the dark ages there.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. And then right after the weekend of all the NBA trades of Luka Doncic and De'Aaron Fox being moved, Myles Garrett says, "I want in on the fun," and has a nice statement basically saying, "It's not you, it's me." Like, I love when guys release like these long, wordy, like, press releases that basically say, like, "I've played for the Cleveland Browns my whole career, and I love Cleveland, and I want nothing more than see them win. Having said all that, I want to get the fuck out of here." And that's basically what Myles Garrett said. So we'll see what happens.
Yes, we will, Derek.
Yes, we will. We'll see what happens. We'll see if the Bears. We'll see if the Browns want to actually trade him. Like, all the indications are that Andrew Berry has said he does not want to move Myles Garrett. He, I guess he was asked straight up, like, if you were to go out to dinner with other GMs during the Senior Bowl and were offered 2 first-round picks, would you accept that? And he goes, "Nope, you can put that on record. I will not take 2 first-round picks for Myles Garrett." They're closing the door on any trade talks for Myles Garrett. But when you have a player come out of his magnitude and a respected player or a Hall of Fame player, and he's like, "I don't care about the money," and he's due a contract. Like, this isn't about a contract extension. He wants to go to a winning organization, and I can't fault him for that. I also can't fault the Browns for not wanting to trade him. This may be media manipulation. He made the rounds today going on different shows on Media Row and, basically saying, like, why he wants to go, and meeting with Andrew Berry, and his timeline doesn't align with their timeline of success. So if I had to guess, I would say that the Browns probably do this because they probably should. I mean, the Deshaun Watson trade was terrible. They had to give up 3 first-round picks plus more picks. You can recoup some of that back with Myles Garrett. Yeah, I would say it sucks to lose a player like him, but if he doesn't want to be there, then you might as well get something out of it.
You got to bite the bullet. You got to bite the bullet on this Deshaun Watson trade. It was a total failure. You got to move on. And Myles Garrett will net you a huge haul. Huge. Now, as far as which team he wants to go to, I think it's just whichever team's owner can do the best Shrek impression.
You know, the Muffin Man. That was in your feeling. That lives on Drury Lane. The Muffin Man. The Muffin Man.
Oh, I love that. I think
God, the way that you judge players on sound bites and like mic'd up stuff is remarkable, Stephen.
why? What do you mean?
You're like, oh, I love that in Myles Garrett, man. He quotes Shrek. I don't give a shit. As long as you just go sack the quarterback. Who cares?
Yeah, but it humanizes him, Derek.
I guess, Stephen, I guess.
What do you mean you guess? That's not a guess. That's a fact. That's objective.
Okay.
Come on. If any listeners didn't see that before, how much more do you like Myles Garrett after seeing that? Come on, dude.
I liked him before regardless.
Yeah, but not I like him. I liked them too. But then I heard this.
You know, the Muffin Man. That was in your feeling. That lives on Drury Lane. The Muffin Man. The Muffin Man.
I also like how who's the other lineman? He's like talking about getting
98.
Yeah, he was talking about getting double teamed, and then he gets right into character.
Wait, play it one more time again. Play it one more time again.
You know, the Muffin Man. That was in your feeling. That lives on Drury Lane. The Muffin Man. The Muffin Man.
Okay, you know what? You changed my mind.
See,
I have more respect for 98, though. I have more respect for 98 because he's like hardcore into football, you know, scheme and everything. He's like, man, I'm getting double teamed out there. What'd you say, Muffin Man? The Muffin Man?
He, as the kids say, he understood the assignment.
What the hell does that mean?
It means that he understood the assignment, Derek. So
it's like a Sam. Like, did you hear Sam Amick today on his report of Kevin Durant? He's like, as the kids would say, it's escalated quickly.
Yeah, I'm like, what do you mean the movie from 22 years ago, Sam?
Like Anchorman?
Yeah.
Come on, Sam. Sam, come on, dude. Come on. We're not kids anymore. Like, you and me were quoting that 20 years ago. Kids ain't saying that because it's a meme.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Look, dude, I want to move past it, but I can't. Whenever these guys quote a movie like that,
you're in.
Like when Nick Bosa goes up to Richard Sherman, and after Richard Sherman recovered a fumble, he's like, "You're like that squirrel with the nut in Ice Age. Have you ever seen Ice Age? Like, you're an edge rusher. You're one of the most feared men on the planet, and you're quoting Ice Age, or at least referencing Ice Age. Yeah, you get my respect. But the Myles Garrett thing, it's not surprising. I know he kind of said at the end of the Hard Knocks that he wanted to stick with the team. But I think they're going to get that Godfather offer, man. You're going to hear a lot, that phrase used a lot, where they're going to get that offer that they just can't refuse. Man, I mean, how many picks was like, and didn't Diana Rossini come out with reports? Like, I don't know if this is an actual report, but some former GM said that he's guessing that they would maybe take like 2 1s and then a second rounder, and that's it. I'm like, if you could swing that deal, shoot.
2 1s in a second.
Yeah,
definitely.
Like, if you,
I mean, 2 1s is the starting point.
It has to be.
Oh, 100%.
Like I'm going for a king's ransom if I'm the Browns GM, but I think teams would be willing to give it up for that player.
Yeah. So the Khalil Mack trade, going back to it, it was a 2020 second round pick, a conditional 2020 fifth round pick. Okay, wait. No, okay, that's what the Bears traded. Okay. So, or no, sorry, what the Raiders gave. I mean, that's ridiculous. Okay. So to start off, the Bears gave up a 2019 first round pick, a 2020 first round pick, as well as a 2019 sixth round pick, and a 2020 third round pick. The Raiders actually gave up picks in return as well. That's ridiculous. So they gave up 4 picks total for Khalil Mack. And you know how much I love that trade.
He like requested to stay with the Raiders and they traded him.
Well, he wanted to go because they weren't going to pay him. Like, if the Raiders were in Las Vegas at that time, by the way, You know how they're able to pay Chip Kelly $6 million a year? An infusion of cash by going to Las Vegas. And now they have all this money. So if the Raiders were in Las Vegas, what was it, 6 years ago, they would have paid Khalil Mack. But they couldn't.
Yeah, not enough money in escrow.
Yeah, that whole thing. God,
Yeah,
how many
I
times
hate
did my
that.
dad have Adam Kaplan on and talk about escrow?
I hate that word so much. I hate the word escrow.
They needed to wait for the TV money to kick in. I hated
Point
that
being-
explanation too.
Point being, yeah, they can get a king's ransom for him.
I think so, but I think that they'll get less than what the Raiders got for Khalil Mack just because of the age.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, Myles Garrett is more consistent as far as a sacker.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of great pass rushers in this league, but Myles Garrett consistently gets like 14 sacks a year. Like he has the same stats he did a year ago when he won Defensive Player of the Year, and this team only won 3 games. So you can make him Defensive Player of the Year when they do the NFL honors tomorrow. Which I think I guess the favorite right now is Patrick Surtain. But I didn't say Surtain. I said Surtain, everyone.
Ordained minister.
Yeah, exactly. But I would guess, yeah, I mean, this might get dragged out for a while, but yeah, I think they need to bite the bullet and trade him, which sucks because like you hate when it sucks when you really want to start something. Like it's the same thing with like Max Crosby right now. Like you want Max Crosby to be part of the future with this team, and it sounds like he's receptive to Pete Carroll being the head coach. Like, but also like when you texted me, I saw the tweet from Diana Rossini who said one GM told her that they should pair Max Crosby and Myles Garrett together. Yeah, that makes sense financially because I would assume any team that trades for Myles Garrett, he's saying all the right things, but you should make him the highest paid defensive player in football once you acquire him.
Yeah.
So the Raiders could do that financially. But as far as like the picks in the future, I'm sorry. Like the Raiders should not be giving up multiple first-round picks to get Myles Garrett at this point.
Yeah. So
and also Myles Garrett wants to win. That's the whole point of this thing.
Yeah. So the next team odds right now, Browns are favored. Next would be the Commanders, then the Raiders, Lions, Pats, Packers, Bears, Cardinals, Chargers, Eagles. I actually texted Fort and Bob about this. I'm like, what's the deal here? Like, why are the odds the way that they are? And he said it's mostly available cap space, and those are just odds makers kind of just throwing shit at the wall, hoping it sticks. He didn't say that directly.
Right.
But he basically said it's because of available cap space. And, I asked him why the 49ers aren't on there because maybe it's because we're in this little Bay Area bubble, but everyone jumped to the conclusion that, the Niners had the highest draft pick and they're the team that's most likely to contend much more than those top 10 picks that they got. So, or those top 10 teams that are going to draft. But he also said them paying Brock Purdy is probably why those odds, why they're not even on that list, that top 10 in odds to land him. So, if you're the 49ers, I do think you can create a pretty enticing package. Say, throw Deebo Samuel in there, throw a couple of first rounders, maybe even a third rounder. Like, I think you could create something, but do you really want to do that?
I'm going to say no. I think that, and by the way,
two of the highest paid defensive players in football.
Yeah, that's the reason. By the way, just to show why the Warriors need a little more defense. Right now, they're losing to the Utah Jazz, and they just lost. Yep, they just lost 131 to 128. Perfect timing to get some defense. Yeah. I may be rethinking this move now. But as far as Myles Garrett,
I don't think Jazz to change your mind.
Yeah. All it took was to lose to the 10-win Jazz?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. As far as Myles Garrett to the 49ers, I know Matt Mayoko joined us on Monday and said, like, you can always manipulate stuff with the cap. It's not that simple, though. Like, there definitely is things you can do by restructuring contracts or whatnot, but the cap is the cap. And I think that paying Bosa and Myles Garrett top defensive money in the league, and then you got to pay Brock Purdy, I don't see how they make that work. They're better off, I hate saying this, They're better off signing Khalil Mack at free agency or drafting a pass rusher, getting younger in that department, than going all in on Myles Garrett. So I would be shocked if the Niners land Myles Garrett. They also need their draft picks.
You know we love Matt on this pod, but that sounds like he was just trying to boost up some of the hopes of 49er fans and keeping them interested in this offseason. Manipulating the cap is like a 3-word phrase that's used to just explain everything. No, just manipulate the cap. Like I love it when I used to get texts during the pregame show. Oh, they can just manipulate the cap. What do you mean? Oh, just convert it into signing bonuses.
You can't do that with everybody. You can't do that with everybody.
It's just like, yeah, but do you think you can really do that with every single player? It's just, I think the Bills are a likely landing spot. If the Eagles somehow don't beat the Chiefs this weekend and don't get to the quarterback, I imagine they're going to be pushing hard to try to trade for Myles Garrett. I just don't know if it's in the 49ers' interest to actually do it. Well, I mean, it might be their interest, but like
real quick, breaking news. The New Orleans Pelicans have traded Brandon Ingram to the Toronto Raptors for Bruce Brown, Kelly Olynyk, 1 first-round pick, and 1 second-rounder. And if you see the image that Shams used for Brandon Ingram, he looks thrilled to be going to Toronto.
Hang on. Let's pull this up. Pull it up. Pull up Game Strong today.
Brandon Ingram to the Toronto Raptors. How are the Raptors doing right now? They're terrible too.
Not good.
Yeah, they are. They're 16-35.
Not good.
So why do they want him?
I don't know, but that's exactly how I'd look if I was going to the Raptors.
God, he looks. I mean, I know that's like Photoshop and everything, but that's not a really endorsing move. Like a really good, like, you know, I feel good about the move with Brandon Ingram. He's a guy that has high energy. Good Lord.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I mean, have you seen Brandon Ingram?
Yeah, I know. That's usually he's usually lackadaisical like that.
Yeah, he usually looks like he smoked a little J before every game, which, you know, you never know. He could have.
Yeah.
We've seen players do that.
Don't love that move for Brandon Ingram, but, you know, all right, he goes to Toronto. Real quick on Myles Garrett. I think that, yes, the Eagles would be in play. They always are. But I think of the Commanders. But then again, like, do they need to build up their team? Could they use the draft picks to make that team really young, or do they need more veteran presence? The Detroit Lions, yes, but they're going to have a lot of cap issues going forward with all the guys they paid. So that could be a thing. You just can't manipulate the cap with everybody. The most likely place that I would say right now is Green Bay. I think that the Packers can make that work. They really only pay Jordan Love and Josh Jacobs. And who else? They're Xavier McKinney. And that's not really like that big of money. They haven't paid any of their wide receivers.
Well, Jacobs wants them to. Did you see what he said at Super Bowl?
Yeah, he says we need. Yeah, what was it? Like the one guy was like, "Do you feel like you need another piece?" And he goes, "I think we need 3 pieces."
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah. Well, that's fair though, because they're going to need like. I could see Devontae Adams going back to the Packers because they need somebody like a big body receiver that's going to replace Christian Watson for a year. They got younger guys, but they were really inconsistent this year. Like Jaden Reed needs to be that guy that I think we all thought he was when we all drafted him in fantasy this year. But I think that
you really have a lot of stock in this Packers offense with your, you know, you got to defend Jordan Love and you know that Jaden Reed thing. Yeah,
that went on a big limb there. I see a lot of potential in them, but like Jaden Reed. Who else they got? Who else are the wide receivers? None. They're not coming.
You said Christian Watkins,
Dontavius Wicks,
Dontavion.
Bo Melton.
Don't they also have that tight end?
Yeah. Musgrave? Muskrat.
Muskrat?
Musgrave.
Musgrave the Muskrat.
Yes.
Wow. What a nickname.
But you were talking about it with me, like when we watch the Packers, we would text and be like, they need more pass rush. Like they really don't have a lot of pass rush.
Yeah, they just like let Preston Smith go for I don't know what reason.
Yeah, I'm with you on that because he didn't fit the new scheme, but Miles Garrett would be great.
Scheme,
Yeah.
meme.
I hear you. I
whatever.
hear you. But opposite Rashawn Gary, that would be good. If you have to give up Lucas Van Ness as part of the trade, by all means, do that. Yeah, I think that Miles Garrett would fit with the Green Bay Packers, but we'll see. We shall see if the Cleveland Browns even trade him. Lastly, not a big surprise here. Cooper Kupp tells everyone that the Rams are going to try to trade him immediately. And he put out a post as well that he wanted to finish his career with the LA Rams. He disagreed with the move, but he wanted to thank everybody for his time with the Rams. And my initial reaction was no surprise whatsoever. They were trying to move him at the trade deadline a year ago, and he had a big game against the Minnesota Vikings, so he stayed, which was the right move. But he doesn't fit with them anymore. Puka Nacua is the main guy, and there's multiple games this season where he only had 1 catch or 0 catches against the 49ers. He's a great blocker, but you want him to be, your slot guy. Again, I don't see the Niners wanting to go to him. They have a much younger receiver in Ricky Pearsall that basically does the same thing. He's not the same player, but does the same thing. So, as far as Cooper Kupp being traded, he makes $25 million. He's due $7 million on the 3rd day of the new league year. Cooper Kupp will not be traded. I'll say it right now. He's going to get released, and he gets to pick where he goes next. I would be very surprised if Cooper Kupp actually gets traded.
Cooper
Coop.
Doing him dirty. Not really. I mean, it
was time.
You can't keep everyone, but that sucks. He's kind of a forgotten player, and I don't know.
Really?
I think so. I think people are so focused on Puka, he's turned into Adam Thielen now, and maybe I'm just using that as a
wide receiver comp,
white guy wide receiver comp. But
I'm talking about
I'm just talking about the Adam Thielen was sick with the Vikings, then Justin Jefferson came in and became the number 1 guy, and the Vikings eventually had to get rid of Thielen, and Thielen went off on his merry way, still making impacts here or there, but having injuries along the way as well. I think Cooper Kupp is going to help any team. Talked about Myles Garrett for the Commanders. I wouldn't mind Cooper Kupp going to Washington. Pairing him up with Jaden Daniels, that'd be sick.
Yeah, that wouldn't be bad. I mean, I think that if the Bengals are going to lose T. Higgins, and most likely they will, I know Joe Burrow did an interview recently. He said, I think we could keep all those guys. Just manipulate the cap.
Yeah.
No, Joe, that's not happening. They got to pay Jamar Chase to be the highest paid non-quarterback. So he'll make, I think Jamar Chase is going to make $40 a year probably. They're not going to re-sign back T. Higgins. They're probably going to have to trade Trey Hendrickson. So yeah, I think that Cooper Kupp could be a good second wide receiver to Jamar Chase. And
that'd be a good one.
The Zach Taylor angle of him being a former Rams offensive coordinator, so he knows Cooper Kupp. But yeah, are you in agreement with me, Steven? It's kind of like a DeAndre Hopkins situation where I'm sure some teams will ask, can you take a pay cut? And I think the Rams are willing to take most of his salary this year to get some trade compensation. I think at the end of the day, though, when push comes to shove, teams know they have to get rid of him because they're not going to pay him $7 million by March 18th. So he'll get cut, most likely.
Are we going to be doing Cup Watch? Are we going to be doing this whole, oh, man, where's he going?
I don't know if we'll go that far. DeAndre Hopkins was late in the game, and that went into July.
Yeah.
I doubt we'll get to that point with Cooper Kupp. But if it gets to that point, bet your ass we will.
Yeah, DeAndre Hopkins was one of my favorite wide receivers, but now this podcast has just tarnished his legacy for me.
Well, not only him, but Dalvin Cook.
No, it's not his fault. It's not their faults at all. Still love them. It's you. It's you. You've made me hate them.
Well, get ready, baby, because the fuckery is about to begin. It's that weird time of the year. We're in the middle of Super Bowl time, which we should be discussing more. There's also some fuckery around.
Yeah. Nah, did you see the DeAndre Hopkins stuff? God, when he gets
with his mom,
you could just, I don't know, the way that he treats his family, you could just tell that he's kind of good people. Yeah, good people. But
all right, real quick before we get out of here, we'll be back. You good for Saturday, Steven?
Yeah.
All right, we'll do Saturday for our Super Bowl preview
what time?
What time works for you?
Early-ish. I got to finish moving that day.
Fair enough. 10?
10 works.
Okay, we'll do 10 again. Real quick before we get out of here, I watched last night the first episode of the SNL documentary, all about the 5 minutes you get when you audition. And that was awesome. That is really awesome to watch that. I've been an SNL fan for, God, most of my life. I don't watch it now because I don't think it's as funny, but I'm an SNL geek. Watch the SNL movie Saturday night. I'm really excited for this anniversary special. But it was really cool to see like audition tapes of, Andy Samberg and Bill Hader and everybody throughout history. They interviewed like a lot of like former cast, not really more than 90s people I wish they would have interviewed, but a lot of, recent cast members, current cast members. And everyone just talks about like the nervous energy they had when they auditioned and how like they look back on it, like they sit them in a room and they show them their auditions and like, God, how'd I get this job? I fucking sucked. And like they're just so insecure and unsure of themselves. And Lauren Michaels tells all of them, it takes time. It takes time. You usually don't know how to do the show until like your fourth season. And honestly, watching it, I gotta say, it was kind of inspiring a little bit to like for like me, and I've always my dream was kind of like to be a performer or whatnot, and SNL wasn't in the cards. Like I wanted to do sports and I wanted to do comedy, and sports talk radio does that a little bit. So it's kind of just like inspiring for people that are on air, just to be like, if you're unsure of yourself, so are these people. And it takes time to grow and be more confident in yourself. So I loved watching that.
Yeah, man. I remember telling my mom after high school because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know sports. I didn't know radio was going to be a thing. I had no clue I'd be in radio at all. And like I told my mom, I'm like, because I had really bad grades one year in college. It was like my second semester. I told her, Mom, if all else
too damn much in Chico, am I right, my man?
I guess. I told her once, I was like, if all else fails, I'm gonna go to LA and I'm just gonna go to Groundlings. Hope you know that. And then it's your life, do what you want. And that's why I didn't go, because the impressions like that. Dude, yeah, seeing all the ones that they didn't.
I was hoping your mom would be like, Monty Python and all those people, Eric Idle and all of them didn't go to Groundlings.
But it is crazy with the people that they didn't accept.
Yeah,
like
Jim Carrey.
Yeah, Jim Carrey is the big one.
Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart is another one. Just people who became wildly successful.
Janine Garofalo, Stephen Colbert.
Yeah, but it all worked though. It all worked in kind of their rise to wherever they went. Like, because if Jim Carrey didn't get rejected, he probably wouldn't have got In Living Color.
No.
And you still wouldn't have had those. You wouldn't have had those legendary hosting nights that he had. Like Jim Carrey was one of the all-time great hosts on that show.
Yeah, the original Night at the Roxbury sketch.
Yes, like Jason Sudeikis going on and just like being hired on as a writer first. Bill Hader starting off like doing impressions, but doing impressions as a character, which is just like genius to me.
Oh yeah.
Will Ferrell, and like how every one of his little skits in his auditions, they turned into a Saturday Night Live skit. Obviously, Get Off the Shed's the popular one.
Get Off the Shed.
The boss with the boss who plays with like shit like a cat. Just genius, man. And watching them all is just so young. It's crazy.
Yeah. No, I'm going to watch the other episodes. I was hooked last night watching that. And I can't wait for the SNL celebration coming up. So we'll get into more of that as that comes next Sunday.
AJ said I should have gone to Ohlone. Look, Ohlone was not for me. Ohlone was the local community college, Derek, over in Fremont. If you know Ohlone, you're a Fremont person, and Went to baseball camps at Ohlone. A lot of baseball camps out there.
There you go.
Never went to school there though. Shame.
Anything else tonight, Steven?
Shout out to George Kittle for winning the Salute to Service Award. That was pretty cool. You see that?
Yes, I did.
Yes, you did.
Also saw that he shaved his eyebrows.
Did he really?
That was, I guess, weeks ago, but that was another social media thing.
Whoa. And also, I just want to play this. Andy Reid telling a story. I reposted this to my
I saw
feed,
this. Yep.
But we gotta replay it for the listeners. This is great.
My first year, and we weren't very good. I think we went either 4 or 5 games of just getting our tail kicked before anything positive happened.
This is ugly. I think you're being kind.
And I remember I got a phone call from Parcells, actually. He had told me this when we played him in the preseason. He said, listen, you are in the roughest place in the National Football League.
Well, I'm going to tell you, you're coaching in the toughest town in the NFL. No, I know. I heard you. It's not close for a second. 81, they blew Santa Claus. No, I know. You were there. That's the truth. I was there.
He says the fans are passionate and the media, they want to rip your head off. And we all need somebody to talk to. Understand that.
If you ever need anybody to talk to, just call me up. I might. All right, just do it. You just do it. I'm not. Hey, and we all need that. You think I don't need somebody?
You make sure you call me if things aren't going good, and they're not going to go very good because you don't have a very good football team. And I said, well, I'm going to show you. You know, I got that 5th game. I didn't call anybody, man. I was like hiding under the desk, and he calls me and he goes, hey, listen, you SOB, you think you're John Wayne, don't you? He says, I told you, we all need somebody to talk to. He says, you're hiding right now, aren't you? I said, I'm absolutely hiding, man. That door is closed, locked, and I'm in my office, and I don't want to come out. And he says, hey, stand tall and get going.
That Andy Reid, he's a nice kid. I never met him before.
That Andy Reid, he's a nice kid.
Yeah.
So that's all I got, Derek.
Okay. No reaction to that?
No, I just thought I'd share it with the listeners. I
Okay.
think that's very inspiring.
No, I mean, I've seen a lot of NFL film stuff. I'm surprised I have not seen that. And you're right, Steven. The mic'd up stuff humanizes these warriors.
I'm obsessed with it.
So I do love good. Like, I grew up watching a lot of mic'd up stuff. I love NFL films. I guess it's just, to me, it's not shown as much on NFL Network like it was in the past, and that's how I learned all this stuff. So it's hard to find it like it was in the past. You find more social media clips than I do when it comes to this stuff.
It's just MFL Films, dude. You know.
No, I know, but they don't do, like, NFL Films was more prominent on NFL Network. They
Right.
rarely show any of that shit now.
Yeah, never.
It's more like Inside the NFL or like mic'd up or like sound effects like through YouTube clips. So you got to seek it now. But like back in the day, like when there wasn't so many, well, actually, I don't even know what they play on NFL Network right now. The Insiders with hoodies. No more NFL Total Access. But I wish they showed more classic NFL shit.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, that's how we all learned. Anyway, all right, fellas. Fells? I don't know what the fuck I just said. I said fellas, but I'm tired. That's what it is. I'm tired.
We'll end it here.
Yeah, we will end it here. We'll see you guys on Saturday at 10 a.m. We will do a big breakdown on the Super Bowl, who we're picking, what we think about the halftime show, commercials, all that shit.
Prop bets?
Yeah, prop bets. We'll do that as well. All right. To everybody in the chat tonight, I'll do this from the bottom to save more time. Otis Bird is the word. You get the first shout out. AJ Cruz, Ernie 1, Rock a New Era, a.k.a. Ernie 2. Jesse, Sketch, and I believe that is it. All right, everybody, we'll see you guys on Saturday. Ugh, my voice just cracked. Steven, say what you always say.
It's it's just our opinion, man. Pretty good.